I'm Tommy Morikis from Oslo Coaching, and I'd like to welcome you to the first episode of our Oslo Education YouTube playlist. Today's topic is going to be the effects of exercise on the body, the brain, and the psychology, the psyche, the mind. So first let's talk about how does exercise affect the body. And one of the biggest effects that it has is on your ability to perform your day-to-day activities as well and as efficient as possible, without pain, without any discomfort. So that can include getting out of bed in the morning, going upstairs, picking something up off the ground. So those are the daily activities that we try to prepare for through exercise. And it also helps us avoid risk while performing those exercises so we don't get injured. If you have stronger legs, you're less likely to trip and fall. If you have a stronger core, you're less likely to hurt your back. It also helps you manage your body weight. So by combining exercise with a proper nutrition plan, you're actually more likely to stick to your plan, lose the weight, and keep the weight off. So it's beneficial to have those two together. Exercise also helps improve your sleep by lowering your heart rate. So if you're exercising with a higher heart rate, your heart actually gets stronger, it becomes more efficient, it lowers your resting heart rate, and that allows you to actually sleep better. It reduces your risk of heart disease because, again, it strengthens your heart. That's why we call it cardio, Greek for the heart, kardia. And then it also strengthens the immune system. And in today's world, with COVID going around and with people getting sick, exercise is probably the best medicine that we have against getting sick. So what types of exercise am I talking about that will really help you see these benefits? Resistance training has shown the greatest benefits through research. That could be anything from body weight exercises, because remember, gravity is also a resistance. It could be weights, it could be TRX, it could be bands, anything that basically applies force to your muscles. Simply having a chair or a box that you can step on increases the resistance that you're going to be putting on your legs when you're doing things like squats. So adding resistance training to your program is a must. It's also good to have high intensity interval training, also known as HIIT, in a form of maybe a Tabata, which is 20 seconds of work and 10 seconds of rest, or any other combination that you'd like. But the idea is that you are training it at such a high level that you're increasing the stimulus that you're putting on your body, so your body actually adapts to that. And so by constantly increasing that stimulus, your body becomes stronger. But the problem is you can't maintain that stimulus too high, so that's why we need the rest periods. That's why high intensity intervals exist. There's also things like yoga, Pilates, or Zumba in the group training format. These are great to help you form a community, to help you feel like you're part of a team, and to have that group experience. So those are also wonderful forms of exercise. There's also steady state cardio, which a lot of people do, and these days this is really one of the few things that are still available, and that is things like running, biking, swimming, where your pace is pretty much consistent from the beginning to the end. That's why it's called steady state. There used to be, and hopefully there will be again, the avenue of sports and martial arts. Sports is great for children, for learning how to be on a team, things like teamwork, passing the ball, and learning discipline of showing up to practice and doing things the right way. But also martial arts is one of the best things to do in terms of creating discipline and keeping people for the long term. But the most important thing, despite everything else that I said, is that you're moving for at least 30 minutes a day. That's the most important thing. So whether you're walking, running, playing a sport, or any of the other things I mentioned, it's important that you're doing it for at least 30 minutes a day, 5-6 days a week in the best case scenario, 3 to 4 times a week in the worst case scenario. But you gotta move. So let's look now at how does exercise affect the brain physically. Now there was a study in Scandinavia called the Finger Study, which looked at people's cognitive decline over a 2-year period. It's one of the strongest studies that has come out. And they looked at 4 factors that are helpful in preventing this cognitive decline. The first one they mentioned is proper nutrition. So that's eating right, the right amount of calories, the right amount of macronutrients, which we'll get into that in another episode. But they found that proper nutrition was the most important. Next came exercise, which is today's topic, coincidentally. Exercise is very important at not only working the brain and challenging the brain, but also at developing the hormones that you need to grow new brain cells and new neurons. And we'll look at that later in the presentation. So challenging the brain is important through sport and through exercise, but also we can do that through playing puzzles, mind games, board games such that require you to play with numbers or play with letters, doing things like wall climbing or hiking that requires you to adjust to the landscape or adjust to new stimulus. So all those challenge the brain, and they basically exercise the brain so that your brain is stronger, and as we get older in life, we can maintain that power. And finally, social interaction is very important. I believe that they were looking at the older population, so it's important that we're actually talking with people when we're doing these exercises. That's why gyms are so important. That's why group training is so important. Even having a friend to play a one-on-one game of basketball is important. So not only for the skills part, but also because interacting with other people helps develop the brain. So what are some of the physical changes that occur with exercise? And I put the title, Exercise Improves the Brain, because it really improves the brain in a lot of different areas. And that's how we're going to start every sentence. So it improves the brain's alertness to a stimuli. It wakes you up. Exercise is shown to be pretty even with caffeine when it comes to increasing your alertness. It increases your potential to process new information. So by exercising, you're actually going to get smarter. It increases your development of new nerve cells. So we'll talk about it in the next slide about what is exactly BDNF, but it helps grow nerve cells. It improves your senses and leads to brain growth. So basically everything that we know, everything that we see is a result of our senses reacting. And our senses is what? They're impulses coming from the outside world that are being passed through our sensory organs that go to our brain. So by exercising, you're exposing yourself to more sensory stimuli, because one of your senses is also proprioception. It's your awareness of your body in space, and it also your awareness of how much weight is actually in your hand. So by exercising, you're activating all these senses, and you're literally lighting your brain up so that it's processing all this information. It also increases your neural connections through repetition. So they say practice makes perfect, but it also makes sensory connections in your brain. So inside your brain we have neurons. The neurons have synapses, okay, so the synapses are where they connect. By using that synapse between those nerve cells constantly through practice and practice and practice, you're making this bond stronger. So by exercising and doing that practice and doing the same bench press and squat or volleyball spike over and over again, you're able to perform the exercise much better. Moving on, we're going to be talking about the chemical reactions that occur in your brain because of exercise and how they are influenced by exercise. So one of the most important is norepinephrine, which is responsible for waking up the brain, like we talked about before, the stimulus that is comparable to caffeine, and it also helps improve your self-esteem. There's dopamine, which improves your mood, your motivation, and your attention. And there's serotonin, which is basically important for your impulse control, your self-esteem as well. It counteracts the effects of stress. It's part of the reward system that goes on in your brain when you exercise, and it prepares the brain for learning. So all these are important in giving you that sensation after exercise, that runner's high that people talk about, that exercise high. So by exercising, you're stimulating that reward system in your brain. Like I said, it lights up. Exercise is the one that's responsible for that. And as I mentioned before in the previous slide, there is an element called BDNF. It's been recently discovered. It is responsible for helping your brain cells grow. It's been compared to fertilizer for your brain. And it helps your brain adapt and learn. It helps improve plasticity. Plasticity means being able to take one piece of knowledge and using it for different things, and that your brain can adapt to new situations because of it. So it's important to increase your BDNF so that we have more brain cells, so that we have more connections, so that we have a stronger brain. Next, we're going to talk about how does exercise affect the mind. So because of COVID, there's been a lot of inactivity. Parks have been closed down, sports teams have been closed down, even schools have been closed down. We really don't have many options other than doing exercise at home or going out for a run. And a lot of people don't like running. This has led to an increase in stress, not only for financial reasons, but also for being locked up in a house with your family members or even by yourself. That can get very stressful. And that also leads to a lack of social interaction, so people aren't going out to drink or to eat or to go to the beach or to go to a game. We're lacking that social interaction that right now has been replaced by Zoom meetings. And there's been an increase of screen time because obviously if you're talking to people through Zoom or through Facebook, you're on your phone. So we're stuck inside, we can't do a lot, we're more stressed, and we're staring at our phones all day. So what are the consequences of these actions? One is anxiety and depression, which can occur. It causes lethargy, so you're basically sitting on the couch and you feel lazy, you don't want to do anything. That can also lead to some mood swings, irritability, so somebody says something that you don't like, and because you basically have been sitting around all day, you're angry. So you want to go ahead and lash out. That is created because you don't have that escape which exercise usually gives you. The inactivity also leads to increased weight because obviously you're not losing the calories that you're consuming, and you have to remember that because we're locked in, most of us, you're not burning your daily calories that you would going for a walk, going out with friends, going upstairs to your work. So there's a lot of those daily, what we call NEAT, non-exercise active thermogenesis, which has gone dramatically down since the lockdowns and since COVID has been in our life. So that leads to increased weight and decreased attention span. Because again, if your brain isn't alert, if you're not activating that norepinephrine, then your brain is going to be asleep and you're not going to be focusing on anything. And finally, we talked about sleep before. So exercise improves sleep, and if we don't have exercise, it could lead to a disruption of sleep. So exercise is really necessary to maintain proper sleeping habits. What is the solution to this problem? The old Greek proverb of healthy body and a healthy mind. The first thing that it does is it raises your flight or fight threshold. So by increasing your tolerance to a specific stimulus, you become adapted to it, and in the long term, you learn how to deal with it better. So it's not just fight or flight if you see a lion in front of you, it's also fight or flight if you're dealing with stress from your day-to-day activities. Exercise also helps you improve your mood and your confidence, so by being a little bit stronger and by being able to perform your daily activities without any pain, then you feel stronger. Physically, it gives you that sensation, that high of I feel good. It helps reduce muscle tension, so by activating those muscles, you are raising that level of stimulus again, so that when you're not exercising, your muscles feel like they can relax a little bit more. And just the process of going and exercising, releasing those endorphins, those are going to help your muscles to relax. As we've stated before, participating in exercise also promotes social interaction. So being in the gym, talking to other people, being on a team, interacting with your teammates to achieve a certain goal, or even being part of a Facebook group that goes running or goes hiking. All of that helps you feel better. It increases your concentration because again, you've activated that norepinephrine, your brain is more stimulated, it decreases your stress and anxiety, and overall it just helps you feel much better. So what are some tips that we can provide? First is move your body by picking something that seems fun. That could be difficult. A lot of people don't have something that they like, that they want to do. But look for it. Go searching and pick something that might be fun. You can ask somebody, a friend or a coach, let's say, that is doing an activity. Ask them, do you think it's fun? Is this something that you enjoy doing? Can we do it together? Or you can find a coach that you like, that you know is a good person, that's going to lead you in the right way, and trust them. Try it. The most important thing is that you put in the effort to try something, and if you don't like it, there's a million other things that you can do. Another strategy that you can use is putting the exercise in your planner, okay? So actually taking the step of saying, Monday I'm going to work out. Monday I'm going to go for a run or ride my bike. Put it in your planner and hold yourself accountable for that. Next, this is kind of like a slogan that I like to use, is tie your laces tight. So the difference is when you put your shoes on, you're really not supposed to have tight shoes when you're walking around in your daily footwear. But when you're exercising, you need to tie your shoes tight so that you don't have a sprained ankle or any injuries. So that's the analogy that I like to use. As soon as you tie those shoes tight, then you're ready to exercise. You get into the mindset of, let's go. Finally, try it for 20 minutes. See if you like it. If you don't like it, go try something else. But if you don't try, you'll never know if it's actually going to work or not. So find something and give it a try. If you're looking for a program that's going to help you move your body on a daily basis, like we just discussed, please contact us at oslocoaching.com, oslocoaching@gmail.com, or through our social media platforms at Oslo Coaching. Thank you, and remember, be better, Oslo.